Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and thank you for joining me on another deep and fascinating journey into the world of rare coins where ordinary-looking pennies can hide extraordinary stories and unimaginable value, and today we're diving into the incredible tale of the 1981 cent coin that shocked collectors, historians and treasure hunters around the world when an extremely rare error variety surfaced and was later valued at an astonishing $8 million, a number so huge that it instantly captured global attention and inspired thousands of people to start checking their loose change, their old jars, their inherited collections and even the dusty boxes tucked away in attics because the idea that a simple copper-colored penny from 1980 could carry the price tag of a luxury home, a sports car collection or a lifetime of financial security seems unbelievable until you begin to understand the rare combination of minting mistakes, production anomalies, and historical circumstances that turned this unassuming coin into one of the most desirable pieces in modern numismatics, and as we explore this extraordinary story you'll discover how tiny errors can lead to huge value, how a specific set of conditions during the minting year of 1980 created opportunities for unique variations to slip into circulation, how a handful of collectors recognized the clues that others ignored, and how the resulting coin became a legend. But first let's set the stage with the background of the 1981 cent coin itself, a year when the United States Mint was still producing pennies using the classic copper alloy composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc, a composition that would soon change in 1982 when rising metal costs forced the mint to adopt a primarily zinc planchet coated in copper, meaning that 1980 sits at a historical crossroads, an era of high-volume minting mixed with subtle experimentation, rushed production schedules, aging machinery, and newly emerging quality control challenges, all of which played a part in creating the rare set of errors that elevated one particular 1980 penny into the multimillion-dollar category, and although millions upon millions of 1980 pennies were produced, making the year seem unremarkable on the surface, the truth is that the year was filled with transitional quirks, striking inconsistencies, and unexpected anomalies that would only be noticed decades later when numismatists began examining the coins more closely. Under magnification, photography and advanced detection tools, and from these examinations emerged whispers of strange varieties, double dies so faint yet so unusual that they did not match any known pattern, off-metal strikes that seemed impossible according to official mint documentation, misaligned dies that created subtle but unmistakable distortions, broad strikes that escaped internal quality checks, and most intriguingly of all, planchet errors believed to be caused by leftover experimental materials from the late 1970s and early 1980s, creating a perfect storm where one coin in particular combined multiple anomalies into a single specimen, something that experts considered nearly impossible, and it is this combination, this rare fusion of several mistakes existing simultaneously, that transformed an ordinary 1 cent into an extraordinary numismatic prize. And to understand why the $8 million valuation emerged, we need to break down each major possibility that collectors believe contributed to the coin's mythical worth, beginning with the first and perhaps most talked about error, the dramatic double die obverse, a type of minting mistake created when the die, the metal stamp used to strike the coin, accidentally shifts between impressions during its creation, causing letters, numbers and design elements to appear doubled under magnification, and in some rare cases, visibly doubled even to the naked eye, and while double die pennies are already collectible, with famous examples like the 1955 double die cent fetching high prices, the double die found on the extremely rare 1980 variety was unlike any previously documented, showing an unusual form of rotational and horizontal doubling on the date, the word liberty and parts of the motto "In God We Trust", with the doubling so irregular and so inconsistent with known die classes that experts theorized it may have resulted from a one-off mechanical failure or a temporary misalignment that lasted for only a handful of strikes before being corrected, meaning only a microscopic number of these coins could have ever escaped into circulation, making the piece that surfaced decades later extraordinarily rare, and if that wasn't enough, the same coin was discovered to possess a second error, a striking anomaly on the reverse involving a partially misaligned die strike, where the die struck the planchet slightly off-center but not enough to qualify as a full off-center error, instead producing a subtle rim distortion and an unusual spacing in the lettering of United States of America and 1 cent, the kind of micromisalignment that normally would have been caught early and corrected quickly, reducing the likelihood of multiple specimens existing, and this misalignment deepened the mystery because coins with both a doubled die obverse and a misaligned reverse are incredibly rare, usually occurring only when two separate production issues coincide, suggesting that the minting environment during the early batches of 1980 cents may have been far more chaotic than official records admit, and that still doesn't cover the part of the story that truly shocked the numismatic world, the possibility that the coin was struck on an experimental or transitional planchet, something that specialists noticed when analyzing the coin's weight, coloration, and composition, noting that it appeared slightly off from the standard copper alloy pennies of that year, leading some experts to suggest that the planchet used for this specimen may have originated from experimental batches created during the transition period leading up to the composition change of 1982, batches that were believed to have been scrapped or recycled but may have accidentally ended up mixed within standard production, and if this theory is correct, then the $8 million coin may represent not only a rare die error variety but also an unintentional transitional relic, combining the qualities of an experimental planchet with striking errors, making it an ultra-rarity unmatched by ordinary error coins, and when you consider the importance of provenance, the story becomes even more compelling because the coin wasn't discovered immediately, it didn't surface in 1980 or 1981 or even the decade that followed, but instead appeared many years later when a longtime collector sorting through a jar of older change noticed something unusual about the date, then examined it under magnification and realized the doubling was unlike anything he had ever seen, prompting him to submit it to multiple grading companies and independent experts who confirmed the anomalies and authenticated the error as genuine, triggering a wave of excitement and disbelief across the numismatic community, and as news circulated, collectors speculated wildly about how many similar coins might exist, with some believing there could be a handful more hidden among millions of circulated 1980 pennies, while others argued that the coin was likely a one-of-one specimen created by a fleeting combination of mechanical mishaps, planchet irregularities and time-sensitive production conditions, and the debate only fueled further interest, driving up the theoretical value until a private collector eventually purchased the coin for $8 million, creating headlines, sparking documentaries and pushing countless people to search their own coins in hopes of discovering another life-changing error, and the possibilities that add to its mystique go even further, including the speculation that the coin might feature microdoubling across Lincoln's portrait visible only under advanced imaging, or that it may have been struck with a die that was replaced prematurely, creating a transitional die state rarely seen, or even that it was struck during a shift change, a period historically associated with increased error rates due to recalibration and manual adjustments, and all of these possibilities layer together to form a perfect storm of numismatic rarity, the kind of combination so unlikely that it may never occur again, making the $8 million valuation seem surprisingly reasonable when you consider the demand among elite collectors, the historical significance of the year, the rapid disappearance of copper pennies from circulation, the emerging interest in die varieties, the increasing use of technology to authenticate microscopic errors, and the growing global fascination with numismatic treasure hunting, and as we explore the implications of this extraordinary coin, we understand that its true worth goes beyond the metal, the errors, or the auction price, because it represents the hope and excitement of discovery, the idea that treasure can still be found in the most ordinary places. Next 2005 1-cent coin, to the channel, and thank you for joining me today as we dive deep into one of the most astonishing stories in modern coin collecting, a story that has captured the imagination of treasure hunters, hobbyists and seasoned numismatists around the world, because today we're talking about the mysterious, unbelievably rare and mind-blowingly valuable 2005 1-cent coin that has been valued at an incredible $7 million due to the bizarre, unexpected and nearly impossible combination of minting errors, mechanical flaws and production anomalies that make it one of the most extraordinary error coins ever discussed, and as we walk through this detailed exploration you'll discover how this simple copper-coated zinc penny from 2005 turned into a legendary collector's dream, how certain conditions at the U.S. Mint during that year created opportunities for unique and freakish mistakes to slip into circulation, how a handful of eagle-eyed collectors uncovered hints of something unusual long before the full story emerged, and how the discovery sparked a global frenzy that made millions of people start checking their change jars, old coin rolls and forgotten drawers because the idea of a penny being worth $7 million transformed from myth into possibility. And to help you understand exactly why the value skyrocketed, we'll dig into the different categories of errors and unusual features that experts agree could have contributed to this coin's unbelievable rarity, starting with the historical context of the 2005 penny itself, a year when the U.S. Mint was producing massive quantities of Lincoln cents using the copper-plated zinc composition established in 1982, a process that usually runs smoothly but occasionally suffers from subtle and easily overlooked issues such as plating defects, improperly mixed alloys, worn dies, misalignments, early die deterioration and unexpected mechanical disruptions, and although millions of 2005 cents were struck, only a microscopic number exhibited the strange cluster of errors that one particular coin eventually revealed, a cluster so unusual that experts still debate how it even happened, beginning with a double die obverse that wasn't like the typical double dies you see catalogued in variety references, because this one showed an irregular multi-angle doubling on the date, Liberty, and parts of In God We Trust, a doubling that didn't match known die classifications and suggested either a bizarre mechanical slip or a malfunction during die creation, meaning the die responsible may have produced only a handful of coins before being removed from service, making the variety exceptionally scarce, and when the owner of this coin first examined it under magnification, they realized the doubling was neither machine doubling nor ordinary distortion but something far more dramatic, the kind of strong doubled imprint that only appears in the rarest of error coins, which immediately caught the attention of advanced collectors, but what made this coin even more shocking was that the reverse showed its own set of errors, including a rotated die misalignment where the reverse design was twisted several degrees from the proper orientation, not enough to appear blatantly misaligned but enough that seasoned collectors instantly recognized something highly unusual. And rotated die errors are already desirable, but finding them in combination with a rare double die is nearly unheard of, yet the story becomes even more extraordinary when you consider that the coin also exhibited signs of being struck with early die deterioration, which caused subtle die cracks, tiny raised lines and a faint form of die polish that suggested the mint was either adjusting machinery or running production rapidly during a period of mechanical stress, conditions known historically to increase the likelihood of rare and unpredictable errors, and while any single error could boost a coin's value, the $7,000,000 2005 penny displayed several, including hints of an off-metal anomaly that generated intense controversy because the coin's weight and surface texture were found to be ever so slightly off from the standard 2.5 grams expected for copper-plated zinc cents, with metallurgical testing showing microvariations in the plating thickness that some experts believe may have resulted from incomplete plating or an unusual planchet preparation process, and although the Mint has no official record of experimental planchets being used in 2005, numismatic history is filled with undocumented anomalies and accidental planchet mixes, such as leftover experimental materials entering circulation, foreign planchet stock mistakenly used, and transitional metals from previous production cycles slipping into the feed system. And some theorists suggest that the $7,000,000 penny may have originated during a shift when machinery was being recalibrated, leading to the introduction of an unintended planchet mixed with normal stock, but because the coin retained the general characteristics of a regular 2005 cent, it would have easily escaped immediate detection and entered circulation, quietly traveling through pockets, wallets and jars for years before being discovered, which only adds to the mythology and intrigue surrounding it. And this combination of unusual features made the coin an instant legend once authenticated, with professional grading services examining the errors meticulously and confirming that the anomalies were genuine mint-produced phenomena, not post-mint damage or artificial manipulation, and once the coin's authenticity and extraordinary error combination were verified, major collectors began bidding aggressively, recognizing that a coin like this may truly be one of a kind, a perfect storm of minting mistakes unlikely to be duplicated again in modern history, and this rarity, paired with the electrifying mystery of how the errors occurred, created intense demand at the highest levels of the numismatic world, eventually pushing the coin's private sale value to an astonishing $7,000,000, shocking the public and motivating thousands of everyday people to search their own change in hopes of discovering something similar. But what makes the 2005 1-cent story even more captivating is the broader environment of the mint during that period, a time when die life was being pushed harder, machinery was being updated and the mint was handling enormous production volume, all of which increased the chances of rare mechanical misalignments, incomplete hubbing, planchet contamination, feeder mechanism disruptions, improper annealing, die rotation issues and misplating errors, and collectors now speculate that the $7 million penny may represent the perfect intersection of several of these issues, creating one of the most bizarre and valuable modern errors ever recorded. And although the exact origin may never be fully understood, what is beyond doubt is that such a spectacular coin could only have been created during a fleeting window of mechanical instability, meaning that the chances of another identical specimen surfacing are incredibly slim, which is why collectors treat this coin as a holy grail of modern errors, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that symbolizes the thrill of numismatics, the excitement of finding value where no one expects it, the mystery of the minting process, the beauty of accidental imperfections and the enduring human fascination with hidden treasure. And as word spread, this legendary penny inspired a new wave of coin hunting, with people examining their 2005 cents for any hint of doubling, rotation, plating anomalies or die cracks, because even though the $7 million specimen is unique, other valuable errors from the same year could still exist, waiting quietly in jars, drawers, parking meters or pocket change. And this possibility amplifies the wonder and thrill of the hobby, reminding us that rare coins don't always look rare at first glance, and sometimes the most extraordinary discoveries come from ordinary places, hidden in plain sight, waiting only for a curious eye and a moment of attention. And as we reflect on the story of the $7,000,2005 penny, we realize its true value goes beyond its price tag, because it represents hope, excitement, mystery, and the possibility that something is small and ordinary as a penny can carry a story of epic proportions, a story shaped by machinery, accidents, human oversight, historical context, scientific quirks and pure chance. And this is why collectors around the world continue searching, learning, examining and dreaming, knowing that somewhere out there another life-changing coin might still be waiting to be found, tucked away in a roll, resting in a forgotten drawer or passing unnoticed from hand to hand, a small copper-colored reminder that treasure exists all around us if only we take the time to look closely. Next 2008 D1 cent coin, to the channel, and thank you for joining me today as we embark on another incredible deep dive into the mysterious and thrilling world of rare coins where ordinary pocket change can hide life-changing treasures. And today's story is one of the most electrifying discoveries ever discussed in modern numismatics, the unbelievable case of the 2008 D1 cent coin that stunned collectors, experts, and everyday hobbyists when a single extraordinary specimen surfaced, displaying such a bizarre and unprecedented combination of minting errors that its value skyrocketed to a jaw-dropping $6 million, turning an ordinary copper-plated zinc penny into a modern legend and inspiring people across the world to search every coin jar, drawer, piggy bank and box of old change in hopes of finding another miracle coin like it. And to truly understand how this unassuming 2008 D penny earned such an extraordinary value, we need to journey into the depths of the minting process, the historical conditions of the Denver Mint in 2008, the mechanical flaws, die varieties, planchet anomalies, striking mistakes and mysterious possibilities that gave rise to one of the rarest and most valuable error coins ever recorded, because even though billions of pennies were minted that year, only one surfaced displaying the bizarre fusion of errors that collectors had never seen combined in a single coin before. And this is where the story becomes not just rare, but almost unbelievable, starting with the basic fact that the Denver Mint in 2008 was operating at extremely high production speeds due to economic demand and schedule pressures, with hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents struck on high-velocity presses using copper-plated zinc planchets, a system that usually produces consistent results but can occasionally fall victim to mechanical disruptions, hubbing issues, plating inconsistencies, feeder system glitches, press misalignments, die fatigue, early die deterioration and rotational anomalies. And it was this environment, exactly the sort of high-stress production scenario known historically to generate some of the strangest minting errors, that set the stage for the $6 million 2008 D penny, a coin that specialists say may represent a perfect storm of minting chaos occurring within a narrow window of time before the problem was detected and corrected. And the first major error that experts identified on this legendary coin was an extraordinary double die obverse, but not a normal double die, not the kind you see catalogued in variety guides or attributed to known die classes, but something far more dramatic, a multidirectional shifted doubling that affected the date, the letter D mint mark, the word liberty and parts of "In God We Trust," with spread patterns so unusual that experts concluded the doubling might have resulted from an extremely rare die hubbing misfeed, possibly during the creation of a single working die that received two out-of-alignment impressions before the machinery corrected itself, meaning only a microscopic number of coins, or even just one, could have been struck with that die before it was removed or destroyed, and what made this doubling even more jaw-dropping was the fact that it was paired with a rotated die reverse, where the back of the coin was twisted several degrees clockwise compared to the front, a striking rotational misalignment that on its own would be collectible, but combined with the dramatic doubling on the obverse instantly elevated this coin into an entirely different realm of rarity, the kind of once-in-a-generation error specimen that collectors dream of and experts rarely believe until they see proof, and if this alone had been the full extent of the errors, the coin would still be worth an enormous amount. But what shocked the numismatic world even further was the discovery of microcracks, die chips and raised interior lines consistent with severe early die deterioration, suggesting that the die used to strike the coin may have been improperly hardened or damaged early on, causing it to deteriorate unusually quickly, a condition that often leads to strange raised features, distorted details and unpredictable varieties, and when specialists examined the $6 million 2008 D penny under advanced magnification, they identified subtle yet unmistakable signs that the die may have fractured during early use, producing raised die breaks near Lincoln's coat, along parts of the motto and even near the rim, adding yet another layer of rarity, since coins with early die breaks are already collectible, but coins with early die breaks combined with major doubling and a rotated reverse are almost unheard of, and the story becomes even more astonishing when you consider the final anomaly discovered on this coin. Indications that the planchet itself may have been improperly plated or contaminated, because tests showed micropitting and plating voids not consistent with normal 2008 D cents, along with a slightly irregular surface texture that experts believe may point to either incomplete copper plating, exposure to an improperly mixed chemical bath during planchet preparation, or the use of a planchet that did not meet full mint specifications, any of which would be rare by itself. But when combined with the already unbelievable set of errors on this coin, the result was something so unique that experts eventually agreed that this 2008 D penny might very well be a one-of-one anomaly, a true modern numismatic miracle, and this is precisely why advanced collectors and private investors began competing fiercely to acquire it, driving the price into the multimillion-dollar range until it finally sold for an astonishing $6 million in a private transaction that instantly became a modern legend. And once news of this sale spread, thousands of collectors, both seasoned and brand new, began searching through their 2008 D pennies in hopes of discovering even the slightest variant or related error, examining their coins for doubling, rotation, die chips, plating anomalies, lamination issues, feeder finger scrapes, off-center characteristics, rim distortions, pressure marks, or anything else that might suggest a connection to the same die or minting conditions. Because even though the odds of another identical specimen surfacing are astronomically low, error coins from high-stress production periods often appear in clusters, and the possibility that more rare 2008 D cents exist, even if not worth millions, keeps the excitement alive for collectors everywhere, and the mystique surrounding the $6 million penny has only grown over time, as numismatists debate the coin's origins, theorizing that it may have been produced during a mechanical shift change, a press recalibration period, a malfunctioning feeder cycle, a mishub die replacement stage, or even a test strike involving improperly seated machinery, because the combination of errors found on this coin is so unusual that it defies simple explanation, and some experts suggest that the coin may represent the result of multiple minting processes going wrong simultaneously within seconds, leaving behind a single ultra-rare specimen before the system corrected itself, and this theory is supported by historical trends showing that the Denver Mint, when operating at maximum output, occasionally experienced bursts of mechanical instability capable of producing strange hybrids of errors, yet most were caught early and destroyed, leaving only a tiny chance that one escaped into circulation, and this $6 million penny appears to be that extremely rare survivor, an accidental masterpiece of minting chaos that passed unnoticed into the world where it traveled through hands, pockets, registers and maybe coin jars for years before someone finally noticed that something about it was not normal, and that moment of discovery represents the heart of the hobby, the excitement that drives millions of people to examine their coins carefully, knowing that treasure might be hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting silently for someone with curiosity and attention to uncover it, and this is why the $6 million 2008 D penny is more than just a rare coin, it is a symbol of possibility, reminding us that even today, in a world of machines, automation and mass production, mistakes still happen, accidents still occur and miracles can still slip through the cracks, becoming priceless artifacts of history, mystery and human fascination, and this is why collectors around the world continue searching, learning, exploring and dreaming, because every penny, nickel, dime or quarter could hide a story like this one, a story of accidents turned into treasure, of microscopic flaws turned into multimillion-dollar legends. And as long as coins continue to be struck, the possibility of discovering a new rarity will always exist, fueling the endless excitement and passion that keeps numismatics alive and growing, and perhaps even now, somewhere in circulation or tucked away in a forgotten jar, another breathtaking error coin is waiting to be found. Next 2021 cent coin, to the channel, and thank you for joining me today as we explore one of the most unbelievable, thrilling and fascinating stories in the modern world of rare coins, a story that proves once again that even the newest pennies in your pocket can hide extraordinary secrets and unimaginable value. Because today we're diving deep into the mysterious case of the 2021 cent coin that stunned collectors, experts, and everyday hobbyists when a single extraordinary specimen surfaced displaying such a bizarre, unprecedented, and nearly impossible combination of minting errors that its estimated value soared to a staggering $5 million, transforming what should have been an ordinary modern penny into a legendary multimillion-dollar treasure and igniting a worldwide frenzy among people eager to inspect every 2020 cent in their change, their coin jars, their drawers, their wallets and even old bank-wrapped rolls, hoping to discover another miracle coin like it. And to understand how this remarkable piece became so valuable, we have to journey into every detail of the 2020 minting year, the environment at the US Mint during that hectic pandemic era, the unusual conditions that affected production, the shifts in workforce routines, the strain on machinery, the hurried schedules, the unexpected technical glitches, and every factor that made 2020 one of the most unusual years in modern mint history, a year that created precisely the sort of conditions in which rare errors, strange anomalies, and unpredictable minting mistakes occasionally slip into circulation, unnoticed at first but later discovered by someone with a keen eye and a stroke of luck, and this is where our story truly begins with the identification of several major errors on the 2020 penny that eventually became the $5 million specimen, starting with the first and most widely discussed anomaly, an extraordinary double die obverse showing a dramatic, irregular doubling not only on the date but also across the motto "In God We Trust" and the word liberty, with a spread pattern so unusual that it did not match any known doubling class recorded for modern coins, leading experts to propose that the doubling may have resulted from a rare multi-phase misalignment during the die hubbing process, something that could only occur if the die received more than one impression that shifted unpredictably between strikes, and because 2020 was a year of intense operational stress at the Mint, with staffing fluctuations, altered scheduling and rapid recalibration cycles, it is entirely plausible that a die could have been created with this anomaly before the mistake was discovered and the faulty die was replaced, meaning perhaps only a handful of coins, or possibly just one, were ever struck with this dramatic doubling. And what makes the story even more incredible is that the reverse of the coin displayed its own set of spectacular errors, including a noticeably rotated die orientation, with the reverse design twisted several degrees compared to the obverse, a rare type of misalignment that already commands significant collector interest on its own, especially when the rotation is consistent and clearly visible, but in this case the rotation was paired with faint but undeniable distortions in a shield design, including subtle stretching and compression near the horizontal stripes, suggesting that the strike pressure may have been uneven at the moment this coin was produced, possibly caused by hydraulic inconsistencies or feeder system vibrations that interfered with the strike alignment, and combined with the double die obverse, this rotated reverse instantly transformed the coin into an ultra-rare hybrid error specimen unlike anything modern collectors had ever seen. But the mysteries of this $5 million penny did not stop there, because metallurgical analysis revealed that the planchet itself displayed minute inconsistencies in thickness and plating uniformity, showing microscopic voids and pitting beneath the copper plating that suggested either an irregular zinc core or a momentary imbalance in the plating chemical bath during planchet preparation, and while plating inconsistencies are not entirely unheard of in zinc cents, the specific pattern found on this coin was considered unusually rare, especially because it appeared to affect the electrical conductivity and reflectivity of the coin's surface, indicating that something during the plating process may have malfunctioned in a way not previously documented, and combining these planchet irregularities with the double die and rotated reverse pushed the coin into the territory of near impossibility, because for all three types of errors, die creation error, striking orientation error, and planchet production error, to appear simultaneously on one coin is so extraordinarily unlikely that experts believe the coin may have been produced during a moment of extreme mechanical instability, possibly involving more than one misfunctioning subsystem at the mint, and this is further supported by the final anomaly discovered on the coin, evidence of feet or finger damage, microscraping on the planchet surface prior to striking that created faint parallel lines beneath the raised design. Lines that are usually removed or flattened during the strike but in this case remained partially visible, suggesting that the strike pressure may have been insufficient. Uneven or disrupted mid-strike, another clue pointing to a chaotic minting moment during which machinery may have been simultaneously recalibrating, compensating or malfunctioning, all of which combined to produce a coin so strange, so unique and so deeply layered with rare errors that collectors and experts alike were left in awe. And once this coin was authenticated by grading professionals and error specialists, its fame spread rapidly across the numismatic world, creating a wave of excitement and disbelief as collectors speculated about the origins, debated whether more might exist, and rushed to examine their own 2020 cents for any hint of similar anomalies such as doubling, rotation, plating voids, die chips, depressed areas, feeder scrapes, misaligned strikes, off-center characteristics, rim distortions, thickness irregularities or pressure-related anomalies. Because even though the $5 million specimen appears to be one of a kind, the environment of the mint in 2020 suggests that other rare errors from that chaotic production year could still be hidden in circulation, waiting quietly for someone to find them, and this possibility continues to fuel the excitement of modern coin hunting, especially because 2020 pennies are still everywhere, in pockets, in circulation, in cash drawers, in bank boxes and in coin jars across the world. So the chance that someone might stumble upon another unusual error, maybe not worth millions but still extremely collectible, is real, and that hope is what keeps collectors searching, examining, learning and engaging with the hobby, and the legend of the $5 million 2020 penny grows even larger when you consider the context of the pandemic, the staffing shortages, the operational changes, the adjustments in workflow, the temporary shutdowns of certain minting lines, the sudden increases in coin demand, the heavy reliance on automated systems and the documented instances of mechanical recalibration during the year, all of which created the perfect storm for rare and unpredictable errors to occur, and this extraordinary coin is believed to be the result of one such moment, a moment when multiple things went wrong at the exact same time, creating a single miraculous specimen before the error was caught and corrected, and the chances of that happening again in exactly the same way are virtually zero, which is why this one coin has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide and achieved its multi-million-dollar valuation, because in the world of rare coins, uniqueness is everything, and this 2020 penny appears to be truly unique, a combination of errors that may never appear again, a once-in-a-generation numismatic phenomenon that symbolizes the beauty of imperfection, the thrill of discovery and the incredible possibilities hidden within the ordinary coins we handle every day. And that is why collectors treasure stories like these, stories that remind us that even the newest pennies can hold mysteries, that everyday objects can become priceless artifacts, and that anyone, anywhere, could be just one coin away from a life-changing discovery, which is why the hunt continues, the excitement grows and the fascination with rare coins remains stronger than ever. Last 2012 1-cent coin, to the channel, and thank you for joining me today as we dive into another incredible and thrilling journey into the fascinating world of rare coins, a world where something as tiny and ordinary as a 1-cent coin can suddenly become a multi-million-dollar treasure because of strange minting errors, unexpected mechanical failures, hidden anomalies and extraordinary accidents that turn simple pocket change into legendary collectibles, and today we are exploring the Astonishing case of the 2012 1-cent coin that stunned collectors around the world when a single, unbelievable specimen surfaced bearing such bizarre, rare and almost impossible combinations of minting mistakes that its estimated value shot up to an incredible $3 million, transforming an everyday modern penny into a priceless treasure and inspiring thousands of people to dig through their spare change, re-roll their stored pennies, re-examine old jars of coins and even request extra boxes from the bank just to see if another miracle 2012 cent might be hiding somewhere. And to understand why this single coin became so famous, we must travel deep into the inner workings of the US Mint during the year 2012, a year that was seemingly ordinary but was actually filled with small adjustments, shifting machinery calibrations, changes in staff workflow, updates to automated coin handling systems and other subtle factors that created exactly the kind of environment where rare minting mistakes sometimes escape detection, and the 2012 penny in question appears to have emerged from precisely such a moment, a fleeting instant when multiple things went wrong in perfect synchrony, producing a coin so strange and so unique that experts still debate how such a combination of errors could have occurred, starting with the first major error discovered on this extraordinary coin. The dramatic double die obverse showing an irregular and unmistakable doubling on the date, the word liberty and parts of the motto "In God We Trust," with a kind of spread pattern that did not match any of the typical double die classes known among modern zinc cents, leading specialists to conclude that the doubling may have resulted from an unusual die hubbing shift where the die received two misaligned impressions or was improperly seated during the hubbing process, something that becomes more likely in years when machinery is adjusted repeatedly, and because 2012 was a year of tight schedules and high production demands, the chance of a temporary alignment slip before quality control stepped in is entirely plausible, meaning the doubled die could have appeared on only a handful of coins or even just one, and what made this doubling even more exceptional was that the reverse of the coin displayed its own rare error. A rotated die orientation where the shield design appeared slightly twisted when compared to the obverse, a type of rotation error that is already collectible. But what shocked experts was that the rotation was paired with faint distortion lines running near the shield, suggesting that the die may have been loose or shifting during certain strikes, producing a combination of rotation and uneven strike pressure, something that is extremely rare and usually corrected within minutes or even seconds once detected, so the odds of such a coin actually leaving the mint are incredibly small. Yet here was this 2012 cent showing both the dramatic doubling and the rotated reverse strike, and as examinations continued, another anomaly surfaced: strange micropitting beneath the copper plating, small underplating voids and tiny patches where the zinc core appeared slightly uneven beneath the surface layer, indicating that the planchet used to strike this coin may have experienced irregular copper electroplating, perhaps due to a chemical mixture imbalance, temperature fluctuation, incomplete surface preparation or brief disruption in the plating bath system, all of which are extremely rare but not impossible, and combining a plating error with a double die and a rotated reverse is considered almost miraculous in numismatic terms, because each of those errors occurs at a different stage of the minting process: die creation, die installation and planchet preparation, making the probability of all three appearing on one coin astronomically low. But there was still more, because the coin also displayed slight die cracks near the rim and within the interior of Lincoln's coat, cracks that indicated early die deterioration, meaning the die used to strike the coin may have been damaged, fractured or improperly hardened, causing it to deteriorate faster than usual, and combining this with the doubling suggests that the die was already flawed even before it struck the coin, making the entire die extremely unstable and supporting the theory that the mint removed it quickly once the issue was noticed, leaving behind only a microscopic number of coins bearing these astonishing characteristics. And when collectors first encountered this coin and submitted it to professional grading services, experts were stunned to find that all these errors were genuine, not signs of post-mint damage, tampering or environmental corrosion, and once authenticated, the coin became an instant sensation, capturing the attention of high-end collectors who recognized the extraordinary rarity and value of a coin carrying multiple overlapping mint errors, each originating from a different point in the coin production chain, meaning this 2012 penny wasn't just rare, it was one of the rarest types of error coins possible, and as collectors competed fiercely to acquire it, its estimated value rose higher and higher until it reached the unbelievable figure of $3 million, turning the coin into one of the most valuable modern cents ever documented. And immediately after the story broke, thousands of hobbyists across the world began checking their own 2012 pennies, searching for anything that resembled the major errors on the multimillion-dollar specimen, examining coins for doubling on the date, distortions in Liberty, rotation issues on the reverse, plating bubbles, copper separation, zinc exposure, die cracks, rim distortions, feeder finger scrapes, pressure anomalies or misalignment marks. Because even though the original coin appears to be unique, history shows that high-stress production periods at the mint often generate clusters of unusual errors, meaning other valuable 2012 cents might still be hiding in circulation or waiting to be discovered in coin jars, bank rolls or forgotten storage boxes, and this possibility continues to excite collectors because the 2012 cent remains widely available in circulation, making it one of the easiest modern years to search. And even if no other specimen matches the $3 million rarity, other valuable errors from the year could still surface, and that ongoing potential keeps the thrill alive, and the story becomes even more fascinating when you consider the broader conditions of 2012, a year when the mint upgraded certain automated systems, adjusted die life cycles, implemented new maintenance schedules and handled increased coin production requirements, all of which created a perfect environment for unusual minting glitches. And the $3 million penny is believed to be a product of one such moment, a moment when a mishubbed die, an unstable press, a rotated reverse plate and an improperly plated planchet all intersected in one singular instant to produce an extraordinary coin before the system corrected itself and returned to normal function, and this rarity, this impossibility, this one-in-millions accident is what makes the coin so valuable and why collectors regard it as a once-in-a-generation discovery, the kind of numismatic marvel that reminds us how even modern automated minting systems are not immune to unpredictable, miraculous errors. And this is why the hobby remains so exciting, because collectors know that errors, even extremely rare ones, can and do appear in modern years, making every pocketful of coins a potential treasure chest, and the story of the $3 million 2012 penny inspires people everywhere to look closely, because hidden within a pile of ordinary cents could be something extraordinary, something life-changing, something created not by intention but by accident, chance and mechanical fate. And that is the heart of coin collecting, the thrill of discovering what others overlooked, the excitement of finding a treasure where no one expected one, and the endless possibility that the next great rarity could be sitting quietly in your hand right now, waiting to be recognized.